Well, firstly, take a deep breath because it's okay that you don't know, and this isn't a failure as a parent. And it's really much better to be honest with your child and just say, I'm not sure about this topic. Let's have a think about how we can find someone to help. And that might be another family member or looking at some of the resources you've had from school. It might be getting in touch with your teacher, your child's teacher, or even, speaking with one of your tutors at Explore. You don't have to feel that you should have the solution right away. And if you don't, just park it and come back to it when you do. Well, learning different methods certainly isn't wrong, but it could result in some confusion. And I think it's best to introduce a new method once your child is seeming very secure in the method that they are using. So, first of all, can they show you how they would normally work it out? And if they can, then great. You might say, that's really interesting. I learned how to do that a different way. Do you want to learn that one too? But often, I think the problem arises when your child can't remember all the steps to their method. And in which case, it's good to revert back to the school resources that you've got or your teacher and help your child become secure in the method they're learning first before you're trying something else. Believe me, you are not alone. And I'm going through the same. So clearly, I'm not an expert in this. We are all in it together. The method I'm trying at the moment with my 12-year-old is to let her come up with her own schedule of work for the day and support her to complete it. Making sure that we all stop for meal times together, that we have some chill out time in the evening. And honestly, some days will be better than others. And it's a really stressful time for everyone at the moment. And just remember that some learning is better than none. And if you hit it in small, focused chunks, I think that tends to be most effective. I think that it's a really useful tool for you to be able to support your child with. But equally, we want children to be able to work independently too. And there is another video on the website that you can watch that will help guide you through that. Anything that you do to support your child is really beneficial, but it doesn't have to mean that it's a session. Just keep your child engaged and doing activities any way that you see best for them. It's really hard to transition for both parents and children to work at home because suddenly all of our learning is expected to be done in this environment. And most of us are familiar with how challenging homework can be because home is traditionally the place where kids get to take a break. And there are so many more distractions around them here than there are at school. So I think try creating a workspace away from their bedroom and away from the TV and set it up, perhaps like a table like they might have at school. What resources do we need today? Let's put some things on the table, agree some break times, rewards, definitely very important for completing work. And I think where you can, split tasks into short, bite-sized chunks, maybe 15 minutes. They could do 15 minutes on Success Maker, 20 minutes reading a book, 30 minutes doing some exercise, and that will make the time feel more manageable for everyone. So Explore Learning has launched Explore at Home, and we've adapted very quickly to the situation that we found ourselves in and launched that in order to support our families as best as we can. So there are one-to-one sessions available with your tutors. And in addition to that, access to all of those tools that you would normally have in the centre. We've also got the members area and the club where you can download a whole range of different worksheets and resources, some that are maths and English, some that are creative. And then we have Bobby Seagull on Facebook, who's streaming mid-morning maths 3 times a week. And really, we're always here as well. It's really important to remember that you can give us a call, you can drop us an email, and we will be here to support you with any of your concerns and challenges that you're having. It's really important that you know that you're not on your own, and that we will be here throughout this time to help keep education going together for our kids. So I think rewards after learning are especially important when you're at home. And if we think back into the school environment, children would regularly stop for a break time or to do craft or exercise outside. And so after a piece of learning, agree together what your rewards should be. And I'm sure they'll suggest something that's probably even more exciting than what they're used to having at school. I think that you know your child best and you know what interests them and engages them. But it's very important to know that we can't replicate school at home. We can't do everything that we feel that our children would normally get in their home, in their school environment. And so I feel it's really important to agree with each of your children what it is that they want to get out of this time, and set some basic standards of things that you want to achieve each day, whether that be some maths, some English, some science, some physical exercise, and just go with the flow a little bit, because it is hard, and especially if you find yourself balancing this with work too, then you'll need to step back a bit. Well, I have tried a schedule and it didn't last very long. I think that every child is different. Actually, my youngest child really loves the schedule and she will tick it off, and she's very particular as to what time she wants to finish all her work. But it doesn't work for everybody. And it maybe doesn't work every day, especially if some days you're feeling tired or some days you're feeling more stressed than others. So again, I think you need to have one perhaps in mind, but also don't beat yourselves up if you need to change it. I think that having time that you dedicate to schooling is important, just in the same way that any of us working from home should stick to work hours. And therefore, I think it's really nice if you agree family time where nobody is working or doing schoolwork, lunch breaks, and morning routine and evening routine, so that everybody feels that they're having a chance to switch off. We are not superhumans, and I have been finding this a challenge myself, and I think that it's really useful if both partners can sit down and talk about, is there a way that we can split our workload so that we can dedicate some time during the day to working with the kids. But equally, a focused hour or two, I feel, of work with your child can be just as beneficial as trying to make touch points with them throughout the day frantically, and feeling that neither of you are having a good communication and being able to make progress. So I think if you are at all able to carve out an hour or two, then you should feel really good about yourself and really proud that you've made some impact on your child's learning that day. It really doesn't matter if you don't cover them all. And it's more important to just feel that your child is making some progress, that there are some skills that they are practicing. Reading is one of the most important And that's something that I feel that we can quite easily and naturally do in the home environment too. In terms of other subject areas, you might not have the specialist knowledge or the resources to be able to help your child with those. Go with what you've been supplied with at school, but equally communicate with your school if there are things that you don't understand and you don't feel that you can support your child with. We're all in a very unknown situation right now, and so know that every child is in this position and every parent. So just do your best with the resources that you've got, and know that learning happens all over the place. It's not just through a book or through the material you're being given from school. We've got a unique opportunity to educate our kids in lots of life learning skills right now. And so getting involved with chores and doing some household tasks is equally as valuable. I think there's lots of opportunity to add some fun to your activities by bringing them outdoors, whether that be doing some hunts around the garden for primary age children, expanding their vocabulary by looking at what's around you outside and using descriptive language, maybe doing something like an alphabet hunt where you've got to spot things again outdoors, building in exercise to your maths or anything like that. It will just add a difference that will hopefully bring energy to your day. I think that's probably very common right now, and not just the child, probably more from us as parents. Um, and in my experience, it's more that when we get stressed, that often the stress passes on to our kids. So we have to be the lead in this, and we have to be the ones that say, it's time to stop. It's time to take a break, and that's okay. We've done enough for today, and we'll come back to this tomorrow or the next day when we're feeling in a better frame of mind. And think about how else your child has gained some learning that day, whether it be the activities they've done with you or even just the activities they've done by themselves. If they've been quietly wanting to get on with some arts and crafts or some puzzles, then that's all really good. And so I think homeschooling parents would say to us that that's the way they manage their routines. And so we just need to step back a little bit and not worry too much.